I'm very humbled to be recognized by, Mount Morris, and it's just an honor to come up here and receive this awesome award and be introduced with a bunch of other great athletes, to see some friends that I haven't seen in a while, shake some hands, a few tears, and to just reminisce about my time here at Mount Morris, and it was a great time. Coach is right. We had that meeting, and the thing he didn't tell you, I don't think he told you, is that when I walked in that meeting, he told me the basketball meeting was down the street, up the hallway. I got the basketball meetings up the hallway. No, Coach, I'm a wrestler. And all the other guys who wrestle with me in the Mountaineers are like, Coach, he's a wrestler. All right. For me, wrestling started when I was 9 years old. Gary Jean started a wrestling program for all the elementary schools, and my fate was set. I fell in love with the sport. I didn't know I was going to be 6'8", and it didn't matter how tall I was because I loved wrestling. It was in my blood, and nothing was going to change that. And so there I was. So I'd also like to thank the Mountaineers who put on multiple wrestling practices and took us to camps and clinics, and there was a lot of time spent on the mats. We get to high school, and Coach Vanderbilt comes in, and he brings in a different mindset to our team that had struggled on winning in the past. And he came in and he helped us to believe in ourselves, that if you work hard, you set your goals, you're going to win. We were a brotherhood. We were the tightest brotherhood that I've ever been associated with, and I've wrestled on some really great teams. That team I wrestled with in this high school, we were tight. We'd handle our business in-house, and nobody would mess in any sort of way with our brotherhood. And we got the school behind us. And like Coach told you, when my freshman year, we used to wrestle in the upstairs gym, and there would be parents and maybe a couple other people. I mean, there was nobody in the stands. To my senior year, we're packed in the downstairs gym, and we've got cheerleaders at a wrestling match? All right. It was pretty cool. It was a great time for us. I also have to personally thank Coach Amos Rinks. Coach, will you stand up for me, please? Guys, I'm going to tell you what. Most wrestlers know that you're only as good as your workout partner. Coach Amos came into Mount Morris as being an alum, and he beat on me. Oh, he kicked my tail for more times but I kept getting better. He kept working with me. I have a lot to thank to my two coaches who I wouldn't be on this podium. Who knows as far as wrestling, where I would have been. So thank you very much, Coach Amos, Coach Vanderbilt. I'd also like to thank my teammates, my buddies Lou and Lonnie. We dreamed big, and we said, why not us? Let's do this. Let's set our goals. Let's go for more than what we can see in front of us. And so I was fortunate enough and blessed. I earned a full scholarship to Arizona State, and I'm going to tell you, the award that I'm most proud of is my degree. Wrestlers understand there's no $1 million contracts at the end of the rainbow. We understand that the stands are probably not going to be packed. We do it for different reasons. We do it because our own self-driven, we drive and strive to be what we want to be, and that's the best. I do have a couple quick quotes. I was very fortunate to wrestle for the Hall of Fame legendary Coach Bobby Douglas at Arizona State. And when I came into ASU, you think you're kind of cool, you're out of high school, and guess what? Everybody in the room's a 2-3-time state champ. Get over it. And so I worked hard. And he looked at us one day and he said, guys, if you can be a successful wrestler and graduate, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. And that rang. I was like, wow. And he's absolutely right. Don't get me wrong, I work hard, raising my children, my family, all of life's challenges, but truly the hardest thing I ever did in my life was to wrestle and to graduate, not only from Mount Morris, but from Arizona State University. And I'm just very blessed and humbled. And if there's anybody out there that has somebody tell them they can't do something, they say You're too tall to wrestle. What are you thinking? You should be playing basketball. You should be playing football. You got to stick with your dream. You got to work hard. You got to set your goals high, and you got to get after it. Make no excuses, no matter what you do in life. Again, thank you very much for this award. Appreciate it.
At this time, I'd like to call up Jeff Brackrod, who will be introducing or receiving for his father, Hugo, who spends his winters in the South and wasn't able to be here tonight. So, Jeff Brackrod accepting for Hugo.
Wow, what an honor. I got to ad-lib a little bit here. I haven't been back in the school in probably almost 30 years, and I got to tell you, for those of you who are administrators or had anything to do with the maintenance of the school, I think it looks better today than it did when I went to school here. So, I'm Jeff Brackrod, obviously Hugo's son. Thank God. If it were up to my dad some 50 years ago, I would have been Hugo as well, like his dad and his grandpa. So thank you, Mom. Again, they would have loved to have been here tonight, but as Jeff had said, my parents have been fortunate enough to be able to vacation, spend the winters down in Gulf Shores, Alabama. So I'm really, really happy that that's been their dream. And thank you to everybody who had something to do with this award. It's not only special for my dad, but special for our family as well. I have a tremendous sense of pride. My dad has been my hero. He's been my mentor. Most of what I know about my dad I've read in the scrapbooks that my mom has kept. He's not the type of guy that really talks about himself much. It's through him that I have my faith, my strong work ethic, my sense of belief, and certainly my pride. Obviously, talk about pride. My dad had a tremendous sense of pride in this town and in this school. Not only did he go to school here, but he's obviously always lived here, as well as his brother. You could read in the notes there that my dad was, after he finished his playing days, decided to become an official. He reffed basketball and football. He worked for Michigan Bell when he first got out of high school. He was a lineman, so he climbed telephone poles. I can still remember as a young child going up to the old football field and replacing light bulbs and helping him do that. Obviously, he spent a ton of time in the community. After he retired from Michigan Bell, he worked for Town Line Lawn and Garden, where he worked for, till he was 65 years old. And at the ripe old age of 76, he's still working today when he's not in Alabama as a Hertz rent-a-car porter. So it's certainly through him that I have received my strong work ethic. So I know he would love to have been here tonight. I know he has a huge sense of pride for this community, for this school, and for many of you in this audience. So he wrote a few words, and when I say few, I mean really few. So I'll read to you what he prepared. I never dreamed that anything like this could happen to me. I only wanted to be a good teammate for my fellow players. I look forward to welcoming the next group of inductees, and I congratulate those other fellow inductees. I'm sorry that I could not be a part of this in person, and I would like to thank the Mount Morris Athletic Department for this honor. Sincerely, Hugo Brackrod.
Next up is one of my coaches who had a lot of influence on my life. I guess, you take a lot of lessons with you from your coaches. And I'll be honest with you, if somebody would have told me in 1989 when I graduated that I would be an administrator in high school, half this room would have fallen laughing. I always had a work ethic, but I just had some distractions that maybe I didn't put my best foot forward. But I will let you know that this coach, he made sure that I strive to be a better person. So his kids will be introducing him tonight. All three? Steven. So, who was our bat boy back in the day. So come on up, Steven. Thank you.
All right, I'll try to keep this pretty short and sweet. By the way, Mike, I still remember when I was a little kid wandering around the hallways with my dad, seeing this giant guy walking down the hallways, seeing my dad say hi to him, just looking up. I was like about this tall. You're still huge, but not as big anymore as I remember. But, all right, I'm up here. I was fortunate enough to played for my dad. He was Dave when I was here. So I had a lot of experience. That's how I won the war between me and my sisters. I knew got to come up here. I played for him trump card. So I got to come up here instead of them. A few things I want to touch on is he was always had a great pride in Mount Morris. He was very proud of where he came from, what he did, his players in the past, present. He would always be talking about them, checking on how the athletics are doing. So he was always very excited, very prideful in anything they ever did. He did the same thing as an athletic director. I think he was here for 6 or 7 years, approximately. He attended all the events, not just football and basketball, you know, the popular ones. He'd go to as many events as he could, watch as many as he could, and really be involved in it. And he was eager enough to share the experiences and how good the programs were doing with everyone. He was very committed to his job, along with baseball. Obviously, we had summer ball all the time. Before and after practices, he was always available to come up and help people out. Whether it was on a Saturday, a Sunday, after practice, whatever they needed, whatever they really wanted to do to get better, he was there to help them out. I was fortunate enough I could just, go up and grab him, let's go in the backyard and work on things, but he'd always be up to high school if anybody needed him. And then any of you who have had any experience with his fourth child, the baseball field, hours and hours and hours up at that field. And most people were good about it, except for the kids. We'd be on our way home, and he'd see somebody on that field. He'd slam that car in, park, turn it around, come whipping into the driveway, go out in the field to chase whoever's out there playing on his field. Didn't want to get it messed up. Now he'd just spend 3 hours a day before out and making sure it looked pretty. And he did not want kids out there messing around down. He had all kinds of little league fields where they could do that, but he was very protective of that field out there. It always looked great. It was always wonderful to play on, and it was fun for everybody. Even went as far as 1 year, I think he had a grievance filed against him even once. Even one of his old buddies, I believe was a principal at the time, they decided they wanted to do some extra work on the field, and I don't think that went over too well. But they had to make sure it looked pretty, everything was mowed the way they wanted it, the way he wanted it to look, and he was going to make sure it happened that way. The biggest thing I want to focus on up here are the lessons he taught us as players. I talked to a few former players before, let them know I was going to do this and kind of say, have anything you want to share with me, anything I should bring up. And a few things came up. One of the things he always taught us was taught us lessons about goals.